Previously on The World I Live In.
I was killing this child emotionally.
We are not exposed to the current situation as parents.
I was doing this out of fear, personally.
If they know me so well, why haven't I taken the time to know who they are and then understand them and then bring them up in that way?
I used to love this lady that used to disturb Inspector Derek. She always put on these suits and she had high heels and she kept on running, seeking for info. But I came to realize that when you let a bird fly, then they will. So how do we transition? Because for me, it has been that kind of journey where I actually go before the Lord and I'm like, Lord, teach me to become a better mom. How have you transitioned into this parent, moving from a controlling parent to a more understanding parent that can allow their child to be the person that they're meant to be?
I think everything in life is a progress. You move from one point to another. First, you controlled them as babies, changing their diapers, making sure, no, the child will feed at this time, no, this is the amount of milk the child will have. But then, personally, because I've always prayed for them even when they were in my womb, like I'll just lay my hands and pray to them, prophesy unto them. So kind of it was not so hard for me. I just have to like adjust and ask God, now where am I going with this? This and this has happened. And I'll start knowing from the kind of questions they would ask me, and I'll be like, okay, this is what he's asking, so this is what he must be thinking. Let me go back and ask him. Like Diana said, I'm also a single mom. So my youngest one time asked me, he was having his bath, and I hear him shouting, Mama, do you have a boyfriend? She I was reading a book and I'm like, huh? And then his older brother comes in the corridor, because he used to, when he showers in the evening, he's afraid even if the light's on to close the door. So the older brother comes and he's like, I must hear this conversation. I'm like, no, why? Then he's like, because if you had a boyfriend, you'd marry him. Then I'm like, okay, in my head I'm like, okay, he knows that if you have a boyfriend, the person has to become this, or if you have a girlfriend. So I'm like, okay, where did you hear that from? He's like, no, you have to be married. Everybody gets married. So I told him, so will you get married? I'm like, yes. So he keeps quiet. And then I'm like, I realized that, okay, now I have to sit down and talk to him about this and also let them know I'm not seeing anyone.
About my current situation.
I'm not seeing anyone. And then after that, but then he asks me, how will I know who to marry? I'm like, oh, Jesus, help me here. How I told him, no, you have to pray. You have to pray. And then God, then he's like, you mean I have to wait for the Spirit of God to tell me, oh, I just have to look at her hair? And he bounced it. He bounced it on his head like he had a lot of hair. I'm like, God, have mercy on me. So I believe it's always a learning point. Learning never stops. Parenting, it's not that if this works for so and so, it will work for
me.
Because our children, even within themselves, have different characters. So we should always have an open heart, an open mind, not to be like, can you shut up? Why did you ask me that question?
Exactly.
Where did you get that from? You start panicking. So now we ended up talking about that, and then the brother is like, instead of learning how to read and study, you're thinking about how you're going to find a wife. Then I'm like, no, don't just brush him off. He has a valid question. So after answering him, and then he's not asked me about that since, but then he keeps asking me that, okay, why am I not?
Why are you not married? Mommy,
so you have to have that candid talk, but a candid talk in a way that's to their level, for them to understand. So I believe it's just we just have to always keep on, because things will come and probably they'll see it from other people or from the world via TV, because the cartoons these days are not as innocent
as they used to
they
be.
are. So there are things they see, but at least what I thank God for was he understands the concept of a family, and he knows, you know what, I have to have a wife to build a family. So his conversation is like, Mama, when I have a family, we'll take a trip here. This is what I think my family and I will do.
He's a boy with a vision.
Yeah, so
that
I'd be like, yes, when you're grown and you know you have to work, you have to have this and this, so you will have that kind of family. But then being a Christian, I always emphasize to him to pray.
To pray about.
Yes, to pray about it and live it, and not to sweat the things that at that age that he has to sweat for. So I believe learning is forever, especially
Never ends.
even with our different relationships with our friends. You can be with a friend for 10 years and probably they've never lost like a parent, and then they lose a parent, and then they're actually a different one. You're like, I thought I knew Susan. I thought I knew how this person is. But then that incident has never happened in their lives before. So you learn to adjust and learn to understand them. Being open.
It's a whole new experience. So Dee, how do you transition?
I think one I've come to, personally, I have come to appreciate that the Lord entrusted me with people, those children in my life. So I know that definitely I can't do it in my own. I didn't get up and give the children to myself. So I fall back to him. I seek wisdom from him. I seek guidance from him to help me do my role better as a parent. He has entrusted me with his little one. So in my own wisdom, I would never have been a better parent because we've had our own challenges before while they're growing up, and all the arguments and the conflicts. But I see there's a big difference, there's a big change, learning to appreciate that I can't do it on my own, but I need to do it with the wisdom from the Lord. And I've also taught them, we've learned how to pray closely together. So when we pray, they pray for their parents, they pray for themselves, so you get to hear their prayer points and what they are looking out for. Sometimes even it's about their parents, and they have not really expressed themselves to you, the things that they think should be much better, but you hear them bring out a prayer point which you say,
This
okay,
must
so
have been a
this is
conversation
a
between me
conversation,
and her or him.
and this is also very key. It means that to them it means something, so you pay attention to such moments and pick up what they are talking about. Then the other one is about learning to appreciate that people grow, people change. These are human beings just like me, the adult. So like Barbara said that you knew a friend and something happened to them, maybe they lost a job and you didn't expect them to go running everywhere, or maybe climbing up to NSSF house wanting to drop themselves, and you think because she's the Christian, she's the top person in the church everybody looks up to, that they should break down and make a drastic, decision you didn't expect her to. Likewise, these children also, they are human. There are things that happen in their lives. So whatever happens, you sit down and understand, speak to them, get to know, well, how did you finally come to this point? To this point. You could even be surprised that he's pinning it on you. Mommy, I knew that even if I call your phone, you will not pick it while you're at work.
While you're at work.
I know this hours, nothing will happen. So I decided to do this.
Exactly.
So we need to calm down and understand and start understanding where they're coming from. Of recent, I've had the two teenagers having fights. The girl is very organized, and the gentleman is... He's very hardworking. He will get up in the morning. He wants to do all his chores, all everything, even before he takes his breakfast. Whether they are going to end at 1:30, he will do everything. Then he will sit on the table and have his breakfast. I'm like, Ian, it is late. It's why, Mom, I have to. He will do everything. But now, should that sister try to hint, lunch is ready. Remember, he hasn't had his breakfast. So the sister, with love, she's like, lunch is ready. Can I serve you? That's going to start a
World War III.
World War, a good one. So I have learned not to come and say, you know what, you're going to be a bad man. You cannot, you first understand why is he thinking like that, So we've gotten to a point where we first understand each other, appreciate wherever everybody is coming from. I share my views, just I would have done so to a colleague at work. So I respect them. So they also share their views, and then I get to say, you know what, no, actually here you were correct. I do understand what you're talking about, but next time don't react like this towards your sister, because she was also doing it out of love. She was concerned now the second meal is ready of the day. What does she do? Does she also serve it with a breakfast? So your reaction should be a little bit toned. So you also give them your reasoning and what the implication should have been, would be if somebody really goes overboard when they are overreacting. So they also come to, because you're trying to also help them to fit in the new world of the adults to be, because that's where they're going. There's so much conflict, there's so much, so much that will be happening as they grow up. So you try to teach them negotiation, you're trying to teach them patience, you're trying to teach them tolerance, you're trying to teach them being able to appreciate people in our different colors and the way we are. So I've learned that if I don't do that, then they're not going to be any different. So for me to transition into a better parent, I've learned to let go of my wanting to use my authoritative position
as a
mother, that because I
am
gave back to you, I am the mother, I am the in charge of this house. I have said so. So I realize it doesn't take us anywhere, because people want to understand, why are you giving this rule in the house? What are we trying to achieve? Because that is what they are learning at school. They don't throw things to them. They are taught something, they reason, and they get to understand and appreciate why certain things are done at that moment.
In a certain way and at a certain time.
Yeah, so I've learned to calm down, learned to also give them their respect as people who have started growing up, and
especially teenagers,
and giving them their space. Much as that I may want to be in this situation of a panic button. What is my daughter looking at on the phone? What is she? But I will make sure that even if I saw it, because for me I can log in twice. She'll be on her phone and I'll log in onto my laptop. So I see her messages this side, but I will not react.
Sneaky mom.
Sneaky mom. But how are you doing it? You understand? So how are you doing it transitioning to that parent who can accommodate people in this new millennial era? So I won't turn up, but I'll try to throw a word, which is like, mommy seems to have noticed that my messages are funny, but she's like, are you sick? Then you're like, you go to the TV story. So you don't show her that you
have actually read her story.
But inside her, she'll start knowing, what was mommy up to? It seems like, so she starts toning down. So you have to be tactical. You don't just come the flat way, the way our parents used to come and I saw you passed here, you came, you tied your skirt, now you're saying, boys, bring a stick. No, you have to know, you have to be very careful. The kind of words you're going to tell them, the choice of words you're going to use. Negotiations, so that people can finally appreciate what you're trying to bring to their understanding, or else you'll be too different. You keep being two different people.
Tempers will flare, and
of course, and they have a right. They're entitled. For them, they feel every time, I know my rights, and I also I have my views. You need to listen to them. But those views can be toned down if we also come down to their level and get to understand
them. You know, every child has basically three things that they require from us parents. Children want to be seen by us, their parents. Children want to be heard. And children want to know they are worthy. How do we do this? How do we get there? Because I remember there is a time, again, with my children. There is a time I was seated. I was actually busy. It was at night. It was I think a weekend, but there was some work that I needed to do. And it was something very simple I had to do on my phone. So I remember my child coming to me, one of my girls coming to me, and she wanted to talk to me. And I told her, let me finish what I am doing. But it's something like it's very urgent. It was very urgent. And I remember telling her to wait. Then I remember them behind me, seated somewhere. And she was talking to her sister that, you remember the other play that was done at school where they were showing where parents are so busy with their gadgets. You want to talk to your mom is on her phone. You want to talk to your dad is on his laptop doing his work. You want to talk to your older sister or brother, they are also on their phone. Now you see even mom is doing just the same. Why? Because she felt I wasn't seeing her or I wasn't seeing them. That is one of the things that every child needs. So how do we make our children realize that we see them?
For me, it's just knowing that they're my priority. That's one. And I used to be so busy before, working for a bank. But the moment I would get home, I'd be like, no, I have to. However tired, even if I gave 10, 15 minutes, if I found him awake, that's what I would do. then it's just, for me, it's just, I just know they have to be before anything else, unless there's an emergency on my side. But also what I try to understand with others is that they also have their own dreams, probably they're trying to achieve at that time. But then this child didn't ask to be born also at that time. So if you're the adult and you say, give me 15 minutes, just listen to them for 5 minutes and be like, you know what? Let me fast. I'm really tired. I really had a very bad day at work. But I promise you on Saturday, when I'm a lot freer, I will discuss this with you. Can you hold it up to Saturday? Because for me now, I just ask them if it's a priority or not, or if they can hold it or not. Then I take my rest or take my leave. Then I must remember that the time I promised, because the time when you break promises, they learn not to trust. And they learn not to trust. But they'll be like, no, that one just says, she never does anything.
So when you say something, you make sure.
Because
if I have made a promise, then I should make sure I keep my promise.
Yes. Because mothers these days are so busy working.
So busy being busy.
Yes.
Busy being busy.
But if you just spend 5 minutes or 10, if you know that bedtime, at least I have to read half a story or speak. If you're the praying kind, like me, read like a verse or a word, or touch them, speak to them. You peck them, like, hey, I will come back later, peck, and you hear them stretching. Like right now, like when you delay and you know you're coming back when it's dark, they've already sent you a message. Mommy, are you safe? Are you safe out there? It's already getting late. Now that they can type and have their phones, and you're like, okay, this is what I said before, that you know what, you need to get home at this time, and if you're late, let somebody know.
You
and
explain.
I'm like, now I am breaking my own rule. I have not let them know that, you know what, I am running late because I'm doing ABCD. Don't wait up for me. But if there's something that you're going to do late and I'll arrive at that time, then that will be it. So for me, it's a no. I just have to.
It's a no.
Whether it's if I can't during the week and I'm super busy, at least on the weekend, or even Sunday before church or Sunday after church. Even if like I am so tired, I said, let me just spend 30 minutes or an hour. Or what I do, if you have TV time, instead of now watching my program, I'll be like, you know what, maybe in the night or something, let me ask them to choose a movie. So now, because I'll get so busy, I'll tell Shazad, you know what, Fridays are movie night. So I won't have like tea with the girls or anything. I just know on Fridays, we used to do twice a month, 2 Fridays in a month. So I just blocked that time out and just put my phone aside. I wouldn't bother with anyone and just concentrate. So we, just as we make time for our studies, just as we make time for our jobs, just as we make time for our spouses, we also have to make time for them.
For our children. Yes. So Dee, how would you make a child to be seen, to be heard, to feel that they are worthy?
For us in my house, we call it open check. Because I'm a banker, we call it an open check. So our time for open check, it's the time when everybody, they are free, they didn't understand it at the beginning. So then I tried to explain. The girl knew an open check. So I started with a boy. He said, Ian, do you know what they have given you? You say what you want to say. Tell her, because she's asking, you know, Ian. So he started his list. Simple things. Mommy, I was thinking, I want you to buy me this. I wanted this. Then later I said, are you done? He keeps quiet. Then when it comes, the girl says, please give me the check. So for her, she wants to feel her check. You understand? So open check works yesterday was Friday, every Friday in my house. So they get to express, they are free, even things that mommy, mommy did, and mommy seemed to
rubbed me the wrong way.
Yes, did not notice them, and you know. So in that open check moment, people are able to express themselves. They tell you some things which are really hurting, but you are the cause.
You're the cause, yes.
As a busy parent, you're the cause. So I have learned to let it be. I said, don't worry. Since I have put my signature, it's an open check. It's okay. Yes, you can. Yes. So it's a free zone where they express themselves. So I did that because I had to truly show them that I truly appreciate your two different human beings. Before I used to bundle them together. So I learned that they're totally two different people, that whatever the other one wants, so what this one will never appreciate, or not that he doesn't want, but it doesn't make sense to him. So for me to show the boy, because at one time actually he said a very sad statement. He said, Mommy, I am very slow.
said, Mommy, I'm very slow.
Mommy, I am slow. I am a slow learner, but I am steady. I am not as fast as her. Sometimes you're rushing me to do
You're too
things.
fast.
You're too fast. But Mommy, I will repeat my things until when I learn them.
Perfect.
That thing hurt me. That's
I
when
know.
open check came
I
into.
know.
That's when open check arrived in my house. So from that day, you know, that statement hurt me till today, that I had to find a way of letting somebody be. So open check, for every parent, it will work for you.
Yeah, I think that is quite amazing, especially when you have teenagers who really can express themselves. They know what they want. I remember I actually introduced something similar with my children, because the two girls are much younger. They are closer in age to they are closer in age, and their brother is there is a big gap between the girls and the boy. So I have created something similar now that you call it an open check, but we have created like this safe space. Actually, we decided that we have it every Sunday in the evening, and we meet, and usually it's me asking, because I believe we all have a responsibility. So I had to make them understand that I, as their mom, has my own weaknesses. But I told them that as much as I have my own weaknesses, they also have a role that they play to trigger certain things to happen. So I told them that we need to be in this space where we can freely. So I've always asked them, first, the thing that I always ask them, so how have I been this week? Because going back to where I was with my daughter, how I used to look at her and make her feel all that, I always want to hear, especially from her, how has Mommy performed this week? And of course she will go like, yeah, this week, yeah, Mommy, you have improved a little, but you can do better. You're no longer yelling like you used to. And again, I also started this, I will do everything that it takes to be the person that puts my children in bed. I am the first face they see in the morning. I am the first face, provided we are sleeping in the same house.
Yes.
And especially on the days when I am going to work. During this COVID time, since you leave when they are still in bed, I make sure at night I put them in bed. I will hug them, we shall laugh, such that when they go to sleep, they are light. They are light, and they have gone to rest when they are in this happy mode. Yeah, there may be some nights when we don't go to bed, when we are very peaceful, but at least I will still tuck them in their beds. Then in the morning, I will make sure that I do give them a hug in the morning. Whether they are deep in their sleep, I will make sure that I give them that hug in the morning, just to remind them that Mommy is still here for you, and Mommy still loves you. And I will say, but such that your child is aware that my mom loves me, my dad loves me, my mom hears me, my dad hears me, and they appreciate me. So I have created that safe zone, that safe space with my children. So I find it as something that is actually healing. It is something that is fulfilling. So
True.
I think that open check, it's actually something that is very, very good.
You've reminded me of Mommy time, and now they tell me we're having brother time. I'm like,
okay. Now they
so
have
get
their
out
own
of our space. We're having brother time.
Yeah.
So when I'm having Mommy time, they're like, us, we're having our brother time.
And that is something that is really.
Also, them as siblings, they need to.
They need to bond. They need to understand. Actually, I've also now moved again into something. You know, before, when they would anger each other, fight, I would rush in to judge. But I've also learned to let them be. I've realized that as siblings, they will always fight. There will always be areas of contention.
We did fight.
So allow them to deal with whatever it is. Unless if you really feel that you should come in, but always allow them to learn to solve their own problems, to negotiate with each other, to compromise where they have to compromise, because then that is the only way that they can grow.
To be better people and to live with the world out there. Because charity starts at home.
Charity actually does start at home. So as we take on the parenting journey, join the conversation. Share your experiences. Follow the conversation on our Facebook page, The World I Live In. Join us on our Twitter handle at susankworld. If you have not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, do subscribe. Hit the notification button that you will be the first to know when new videos are uploaded. This is the world I live in. See you in the next video. And remember, you are your own rescue.